If you try meditating because you want to relax or de-stress or just stop thinking for a bit, then it probably won't work for you. But if you meditate for its true purpose, you'll find something way more valuable and probably experience the relaxation you want too as a byproduct. So what is the true purpose of meditation? Why does it matter? And why is it ultimately way more important to feel the purpose than to know the purpose? I'd say the true purpose of meditation is to simply recognize who we really are and stop identifying ourselves with this mentally generated concept of self, sometimes called the ego. Everything changes when we meditate to address the root cause rather than the surface level symptoms. It's like if the drain in your sink gets clogged and backs up with water. You want the water to go down, so you just sit and wait or meditate, and sure enough, the water does eventually go down. But the clog is still there, so it doesn't take long for the water level to rise right back up as we start running the water of our daily activities again. The root cause is confusing our thoughts with reality and confusing ourselves with a mentally generated caricature of ourselves. Instead of focusing on the goal of wanting to relax or stop overthinking, we simply connect our attention to the deeper being that exists below the level of thought, and naturally, without trying to, the thinking relaxes as a result. It takes tremendous energy to continue maintaining this mentally generated self-image, or ego. So when we let it go and connect our attention to just rest in a deeper self, then naturally we experience a real sense of relief as well. If I identify myself as the character that I've built for myself in my internal narrative, then I feel like I need to keep playing that character lest I disappear. But when I notice who I simply am before playing any character of myself, then I realize that I'm still fine, even if I let go of this idea of who I am. And the whole strained narrative and the caricature of myself that I've been playing can finally relax. I could also say that the true purpose of meditation is to properly integrate or harmonize our minds into the rest of our total being, to develop a more clear and harmonious relationship with the mind. By harmonious, I mean that the mind functions well in its place, but doesn't overstep beyond it. It's recognized as the valuable tool that it is for building mental models of self and reality, but we never confuse ourselves with that model of self or reality with the model of reality. Just like a street map can be a valuable tool for navigating a city, as long as we remember that it's not perfectly accurate or complete and don't confuse the actual streets with the map. Who I think I am, what I think this is, and what I think is going on are all hopelessly limited reductions of reality at best, and often not even accurate representations of the parts of reality that they're trying to represent. It's common for our attention to be completely wrapped up in the stream of thoughts about what's going on, rather than having our attention in what's actually going on. You've probably had the experience of talking to someone and not really even hearing what they're saying because the thoughts running through your head are louder and grab your attention more than what they're saying. Meditation helps us to keep our attention on the conversation or on whatever is happening in the present moment, not by forcefully stopping the stream of thoughts, but by helping us recognize them as just thoughts, and by giving us the clarity that they can come and go without needing to ever dominate that space of attention. Meditation helps us to recognize these mental models for what they are and not confuse them with reality itself. It's a practice of connecting simply with our direct experience rather than connecting with what we think about our experience. So why doesn't meditating for the goal of relaxing or de-stressing really work so well? Meditating to relax focuses on the symptom, not the root cause. Meditating for the purpose of relaxing also keeps you believing that you are this caricature of yourself that needs to meditate in order to be okay. It keeps you attached to the idea of needing to meditate, rather than letting that idea go too with all of the rest. It keeps you feeling like a person who is lacking in inner peace and needs to go through some sort of a process to find it, rather than recognizing and feeling the inner peace that already exists inside of you below the level of the mind, and which we can connect to in any moment, right now. And right now. And right now. It's one variation of the common trap which we explored in detail in the previous video, and which I'll link to in the description if you haven't seen it yet. Now, I always do my best to try to have a balanced perspective and to steelman other positions rather than strawman them. And so that's not necessarily to say that there's absolutely no benefit whatsoever in meditating in order to relax. In our fast-paced society where we are constantly overstimulated all the time, there can be tremendous benefit in simply sitting down and doing nothing, just giving the mind space, being bored, but it's not going to work as deeply as getting to the root of this true purpose. Waiting for the water to go down is the equivalent of meditating until you feel relaxed. It's definitely better than just continually pouring water into the sink as it overflows and never giving it a chance to go down. But the best real solution is to unclog the drain so that it stops getting backed up. Reducing the constant stimulus definitely does help us relax, and any time spent truly focused on the feeling of the breath, for example, helps us connect to the deeper being underneath our thoughts. The point of me saying all of this isn't to create some idea that you're doing it wrong. That thought is counterproductive and just creates more tension as it piles onto all the rest of the thoughts. So let me repeat. You will probably see some benefits if you just sit and focus your attention on the breath as best as you can for whatever goal, whether it be relaxation or whatever. And connecting with your breath may lead to a spontaneous realization of the self that exists before thought. But if you meditate to relax, the practice simply won't work as deeply as if you meditate to connect with pure, unfiltered awareness. Meditating to stop thinking won't work as well or as deeply as meditating to see the truth about thinking, to clearly recognize thoughts as thoughts and not who you are. When we start to see thoughts clearly as just thoughts, we naturally feel less need to compulsively enter into them, enter into their story, and give them our attention. The big catch is that identifying with the idea of seeing the truth, or the idea of connecting with the true self, is falling right back in the trap we talked about earlier in the series. And that's why I say that knowing the true purpose is ultimately useless unless it's used as a guide to lead us towards feeling the true purpose. The point isn't to have the right answers or to sound wise. The point is not to build a spiritual ego or to think of yourself as a guru who can now correct other people when they say that they meditate to relax. The point is to practice with a new level of clarity, which helps develop further clarity. Understanding the purpose of meditation is something deeply felt, not intellectualized, as ironic as that might be in the context of this video. It's an understanding on a deep, visceral level below the level of thought. As the great Bruce Lee said, everything I'm saying is like a finger pointing to the moon. Don't look at the finger. Look at the moon. For the other hyper-intellectuals out there like myself, who tend to hyper-intellectualize everything, do you know how to raise your hand into the air? Probably yes, but your understanding probably has very little to do with the mechanics of all the muscles and bones working together to raise your hand into the air. It's a feeling of knowing how to do it. And to intellectualize it like I just did just feels weird. It's the same for connecting with and feeling the true purpose of meditation. Trust it when you know you get what I'm saying, without needing to overanalyze it. And if you're maybe newer to meditation and all of this feels a little bit confusing, don't worry about it, don't overthink it. I recommend you just come back to the simplicity of feeling the breath come in and out, and let clearly feeling that be the goal rather than relaxation. As you do this, you'll naturally start to understand more about what I mean. If something is clicking here for you as you watch this, then consider sharing it with someone else who you feel might benefit from it too. As I mentioned before, contacting the true purpose of meditation has a lot to do with not falling into the traps of the ego, so I definitely recommend you review that video, or dive into whichever video in this playlist for demystifying the ego, understanding, and harmonizing the mind that appeals to your intuition. Feel free to join me here on this channel, also in the Harmonious Reality newsletter. I love you, and I'll see you in the next one.